Welcome. My name is Julio Diaz. Welcome to Guitar Memories. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you an amazing guitarist, Arthur Anderson. Arthur, thank you so much to be here to accept this invitation for Guitar Memories. Can you talk a little bit about yourself, please?
Oh, sure, and thanks for having me. I started out at the age of 14. Um, I seen an acoustic guitar sitting around. I was living with my uncle at the time, and I wanted to pick it up. They took me to the library. And I still tell people that. Don't forget about the library. I know we have YouTube and all that, but I learned chords, majors and the minors, and that's how I started out. And I loved it and started listening to new music and trying to pick things out by ear. What really got me started was living with my uncle. My cousins, she had a date with a guy that was a guitar player, and he seen that I was starting out and learning the majors and the minor chords and doing like folk songs like Green Green Grass of Home and that kind of stuff. And so he showed me some riffs that I still practice to this day, triplets and bends and stuff that set me on my path to being a lead guitar player.
Oh, nice, nice, Arthur. Well, we are on that on Forward City, but you live
In Dallas.
on Dallas.
Yeah, North
Oh,
Dallas,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, Arthur, before the start, can you explain what equipment we will use today?
Sure, yeah. All right, well, to start with is my Boss Katana 100 amplifier head. I love this head. It's solid state, and it has 8 channels. Most guitar amplifiers across the world, 2 channels, a lead and a rhythm. That's what you work with. This thing has 8 channels that I get to use by using this pedal board right here. And so I can set the channels. It comes with, it's kind of like it has its own effects. It has 7 different effects built into it, almost like an effects processor that I can manipulate and save into each one of the 8 channels. And as I play live, I can change into any one of them that I want. So I love that about this amp. I don't actually need the pedal. I can change channels by hand, even on the interface. So it's got a lot of options, and it was a cheaper amplifier too. It was only like $350. It has a line out. You can go straight to the PA, and I love it. And I use the effects loop to incorporate my pedals, so I'm not just coming out of the amp, because I think it knocks a lot of the noise out of having so many pedals. And so that's my amplifier. And this is my speaker, and it's a default Marshall speaker with Celestions, 12-inch, two 12-inch speakers. And I like this because I'm older, and a 4 speakers would be too heavy for me to pick up anymore. So this thing is a little bit lighter than something like that. And in most venues, we're going to mic my speakers anyway, so I don't need a full half Marshall stack or nothing like that. So it's very nice to have this thing because it's lighter. Moving on to my pedals, I love this. I've had several looper pedals. I've had several throughout the years, but this Electro Harmonic 720, wow, it is intuitive, it's easy. I can play a rhythm, stop, go back to it, and don't have to think too much about it, because whenever you're playing, you don't have time to be looking down and all that all the time. Sometimes you're singing as well, so my mind is focused straight ahead of me. And so I love this one. The TC Electric Flashback is a digital delay processor. So it has many different settings for making your delay noises and sounds, speeds and volumes and different things. But it also has a looper built into it. So I can start a rhythm and also add to that by using this looper. So I have two loopers going at the same time. And that's a nice process to have in your back pocket. This booster here, preamp, is made by Wazacraft, which is a Spark of Boss. And I use it to boost my sound for when I want to rise up my level to a lead volume and kick it back down for rhythm. So it's simply a booster for me, and it doesn't add really hardly any effects at all. And I love it because I've always wanted something like this that didn't take away from my sound or add any crunch or any noise, and it doesn't do that. So it's well worth the money. Moving on to my wah-wah pedal. This is a default Crybaby wah pedal. So it has extreme tones from one way or another that you use. And so for me, it's an expression pedal, you know. I can make it talk, kind of, you know. And a lot of people have these, and it's just been around for forever. So it's just a part of my board. And this is an interesting device to have, the MXR Mini ISO Brick. And what it does is it creates separate circuits that are for all the pedals, so that we're not just working off of one circuit and maybe introducing noise to the sound. It helps, it knocked out about half of the noise whenever you have all your pedals going at the same time. So I love having that. And because I don't really play with a lot of, as you see, there's no distortion pedal here. So I'm not really introducing a whole lot of noise, but with clarity, you do want to knock out even more, you know, so that you just hear the clean tones and stuff, and that really adds to it. And back to my amplifier and my channels, I mainly stick with these 4 channels, but I can also hit this pedal and use the other 4 of the 8 channels that are in my amplifier. And this is an interesting effect. You can push this and take off either like your booster or your delay. Or momentarily while you're playing, you can take your reverb off that channel and then hit it again and bring it back into the channel. So it's like you're sitting there editing your effects of your channel while you're playing live. So that's a nice thing to have too, if you just want to take out some of the reverb or something like that. And so that's my whole rig that I play with live, and I appreciate the opportunity to show it.
Sure. No, it's really interesting because the guitarists, we have different setups, right? Because we have different necessities, right? And it's really interesting what kind of tone the different guitarists they have, right? And it's the podcast is just for inspiration, but it's learning too, because some new guitarists they don't know how to start to use analog pedals, right?
Right.
And well, all my life I experiment with analog pedals, but well, I like to be quickly, and I start really early with digital pedals, right? Well, back to the beginning, Ardo. Well, you told me you start with music with your uncle, right?
Yeah.
Because he bring to you for the library, right?
He had an old acoustic guitar laying around.
Oh,
When I saw that, and I wanted to pick it up, you know, my dad and my mother both played music. My dad was a guitar player, and he would play folk and country, you know. So as I was growing up, before I was 14, we would listen to him play, and Mom play the piano along with him, and they would do folk songs and stuff together. And she additionally was classically trained, and she would play Tchaikovsky and Bach. And so I got to listen to her do that kind of music, and those notes I think kind of stuck with me. And whenever I turned 14, I just wanted to get it out, you know. And picking up the guitar, I think, was a means to help me find my way, to express myself musically. And I never was really playing classical music on the guitar, but the notes that I had heard from her playing and my dad playing, I believe picking up the guitar helped me to express myself.
Nice, nice. But okay, you saw your parents, your uncle about that, and you said, "Okay, I want to play music right now."
Yeah,
Yeah, and you said about country music, folk music, and you start with that kind of music.
that's right. I did folk music with the books that I got from the library. So, you know, it was White Lightning, um, Hang Your Head Tom Dooley, old folk songs like that, The Green Green Grass of Home, you know, Johnny Cash type kind of songs, that kind of things that were easy 3-chord songs that were in these books. I would strum them and have heard them before through my father because he loved country, and was finding my way when I, like I mentioned before, my cousin's date, he came over. His name was Ricky Peters, and I owe a lot to him because he gave me a chance. He didn't have to do what he did, but you know how it is whenever you show up to pick up your date and she's not quite ready. So he would come to me while he was waiting and show me some tricks and things that he did. He was 19 years old, but he knew how to play lead guitar already. And some of the, like I said before, some of the licks that he showed me, I still practice to this day because, you know, maybe one of these days I'll get good at it. But it was amazing to me to be able to express myself in that way. And so I kind of didn't progress very well as a rhythm guitar player. Once I learned what he was showing me how to play lead guitar in the pentatonic scale, it was a pentatonic minor scale that he showed me. I kind of was not progressing as a rhythm guitar, more as a lead guitar, almost from the very beginning. And I've always fantasized and loved listening to different guitar players that express themselves with their leads. There's different ways of doing it with pentatonic scales, with country chicken picking kind of thing, and heavy metal rock tones and different things. Whenever I was 14, I had never really actually heard those things because growing up, my dad had only really exposed us to folk and country. I didn't even know heavy metal existed, or hard rock or anything. Even jazz was like jazz fusion type kind of stuff. Whenever I was introduced to that, 14, 15 years old, I really loved it. And like Steely Dan, you know, those are all big influences when I was young, you know, and first picking up the guitar. I couldn't play like that, but I wanted to.
Yeah, sometimes we want to play something because we said it's really, really nice, but our skills it's not enough.
Right.
But we enjoy the music, right? And that keep us motivated,
Yeah,
motivated
that's right, yeah.
to keep growing up and keep be better, right? Do you remember your first guitar?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, yeah. So the first guitar was I had actually one that's almost not worth mentioning, a little $25 thing to get started with, electric guitar, and you could tune it, but barely, and it was nothing. But whenever I moved away from my uncle to go live with my father in Lawton, Oklahoma. Right away, it got broken. So he saw that I was really interested in the guitar. So he went to someplace like a pawn shop or something and bought a Gibson SG, the maroon color, just like Angus Young for AC/DC. And he brought it to me and said, "Hey, this is $300. You're going to have to pay $150 of that. So you need to mow some lawns or something to pay me back." And I said, "No problem." So,
Okay.
so my first real guitar was a Gibson SG.
Wow, that's a really nice guitar.
Oh,
you,
yes.
You still keep your.
No, it was stolen shortly thereafter.
Oh.
I was 16 and playing with the band, and we were young, and people would come to watch us play at these mini warehouses that we rented so that we could have a place to practice, right? And people would show up, and we played several parties like that. But one time, when I wasn't looking, somebody took my SG. I was so disappointed because that was a very nice guitar. I've only got one picture of it with me playing that. But so my second guitar was a Hondo 2, another cheap guitar you buy for less than $100 at a pawn shop. And I made that work for a while because shortly thereafter I moved out on my own when I was 17. And Hondo 2 was a fair guitar. But right after that, I traded it in for an Ibanez, the artist, and I played that for a while. I actually got that from a guitar show here in Dallas when I moved from Lawton, Oklahoma to Dallas. I traded the Hondo 2 in. Yeah.
Oh, that's a sad story.
Yeah, I know. I wish I had that. But, as time moved on and I got older and more mature, I was in my 20s, I traded that Ibanez artist in at the guitar show again for a Gibson SG, but this one was aqua colored. It had a bluish green with metallic flakes in it, kind of a color, and I played that guitar for more than 10 years. Yeah, so that was a very nice SG guitar, and I miss it to this day.
Mm-hmm. Well, Arthur, you start learning a guitar because your parents, your uncle, the library,
Yeah.
your cousins, but you get some classes.
I never took classes. No,
No, okay, but it's just self-taught.
I just watch different people and learn, or listen and mimic what people do. Yeah. I have sort of an uncanny ability where, actually, by the time I was 16, I could listen to things and kind of know what was happening. And it wouldn't take me long to figure stuff out. And by the time I was 18, I was really good at just listening to guitar solos and mimicking those solos. And if it had anything to do with the pentatonic scale, I could pretty much figure it out.
And that years, you joined a band.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that process?
Well, when I was young in Lawton, Oklahoma, we had what we called White Cross, because the drummer's last name was Cross. And we played our own original stuff. We actually created our own music, and the parties that we played, we was doing pretty good at 17 years old, And then 18, when I moved to Dallas, I joined a band called Alchemy, which an alchemist is someone that tries to turn foreign metals into gold, which is it's basically something you can't outdo. So alchemy, our little saying was, we're going to turn heavy metal into gold.
Oh, wow.
That didn't happen. But it was so much fun to play with these guys. And we didn't play any originals. It was all stuff of the times that we loved. Hard rock, it was Def Leppard, Ted Nugent, Blackfoot, that kind of thing, Black Sabbath. That's where I come from. Thin Lizzy, and Scorpions and all that kind of stuff. I always loved the hard rock. Whenever I was in my late teens, that's what I played and moved into. It wasn't until actually later in years in life, until I was late 40s, early 50s, that I started loving Steely Dan and jazz fusion and stuff that I first liked in the beginning and wished I could play. And but yeah, the first band was White Cross, and then it was Alchemy. And in the 90s, I was in a band called Axe Minister. And so that was all original as well. And we played at Deep Ellum a lot, and like Savvy's in Fort Worth, and just different places like that. And we had a pretty good following, but you know how things, it kind of fell apart.
Okay, but did you record
Hey, thanks for asking
albums?
that. Yeah, so the Axe Minister band did go to the studio. We went to two different studios in Dallas. Well, one was in Dallas. It's the Kitchen Studio. We recorded 3 tracks there. And then we went to Hot Tracks in Garland and recorded 3 tracks there and made the Axe Minister album. And didn't do much with it, more of just giving CDs out to friends and stuff. But those were good days. And it was all hard rock, you know. That's what I was doing at the time.
I ask you because well, we are on the technology
Era.
era.
Yeah.
Technology era, and well, record right now it's really easy, but before was expensive.
Yeah.
No more locations for record an album if you are well in 16, 17, 18. And I just ask you because well, you start really early with your process with music, and well, I really love to listen that kind of music because a lot of musicians lost their compositions, their music, because well, was different time with different area. Yeah. Well, Arthur, I'm so excited to learn about your guitar. Can you talk about your guitar, please?
Well, thank you for asking about my guitar. This is Fender Telecaster. It's the American Professional 2 Telecaster with the Dark Knight finish. Of course, it has the Spanx pickup close to the neck, and it has a regular single coil at the bridge. It has the pot that you can tie these two together and make sort of a humbucker type sound, you know. And I actually use that as a lead boost sometimes. And I love this guitar. It's got nice thick wood, so it has tonality. You know, you want that, and it's just easy to play. And the first guitar I ever bought it was brand new right out of the box. So I unboxed it, everything, and that was a good feeling.
Yeah, a new toy.
Early in life, I was buying cheap guitars, as I said before, you know. But you know, this guitar means a lot to me, and I play it because I have 6 electric guitars. This one mostly with Mark and the Machine, because they do play the lighter side of things, lighter rock, lighter country kind of sounds that they're going for. So there's not a lot of like distorting or heavy rock sounds, and so this lends itself to that kind of sound. And I like being able to choose the guitar for the group that I'm playing with, and this helps me with that. And so it means I have versatility with the tones that I can pick from. And but Well, it's just a great guitar. It's just love it having it, and as you see, there's green dust all over the place. That's because I use my picks quite often. I'm just basically just shaving the plastic off of them because I'm playing so much, and then I throw it and get another one, and that's why it looks like this. It looks like I don't ever clean it, but I do.
Yeah, it's really amazing guitar. It's so pretty.
Oh yeah.
It's so pretty. What kind of size of the neck?
Well, I believe this is a D shaped neck, and the I love the cutaway because I can get down in here. It's got the rosewood on the top, and it came pre-set up. I didn't have to change anything, so I didn't have to make any changes at all. And it has a nice tone. The neck is, I believe, maple, but tone rosewood on the fretboard.
And it has not locking tuners, right?
I don't know if it has locking tuners. I don't know the difference between that.
Yeah, because it's really classic.
Yeah.
Really classic pipe. Oh, nice. Well, can we listen that beautiful?
So
guitar?
I want to introduce you to what the Ricky Peters, I mentioned his name, showed me back whenever I was 14, and what I still practice to this day is a triplet in a minor scale, and let's use E as the chord, and it was something like this where he 1 2 3 1 2 3, and what he was trying to do was teach me to pick back and forth instead of going down 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 or up 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 with my picking patterns. And this riff also is something that lends itself to a rock sound, and it goes something like this. And what's happening here is when I say triplets, it's 1 2 3 1 2 3, all down the neck, using this pentatonic type scale. And I still go home and just do that a lot. My wife's like, I wish you would stop doing the same thing over and over again. But it helps keep me loose and limber, and I don't get stiff if I've practiced before a gig, and so I'll do that kind of thing. And another thing that he taught me was this riff. It's kind of like a Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry did this kind of thing, but if you throw this in the middle of it, you get this. I love doing that. That's one of my favorite riffs of all time. I throw that. I'm in the middle of a solo anytime I want to, And as time progressed, and this pentatonic scale that I worked with, those are the notes. Well, I realized, there's notes that could be played in the middle of that wouldn't be too far off of the E chord that I'm in, and so this is not being played. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. If I include those in, then I can do triplets still, but in a different scale than actually what he showed me. And I just started figuring that out on myself. So it's like 1 2 3, and then start on the next note. Make my own scales out of it. So I started making my own out of it, and either side of it as well. And I just started advancing, and then it became, instead of threes, it was fours and fives and six and sevens. So I practiced however many it takes to get to where I'm trying to end up. You got the rhythm in your mind, and these chord changes are going to happen. So you have so much time to fill that space. And these different numbers help me to fill that space with the riffs that I'm trying to express myself with.
Sure, that's really interesting because, well, you really was interested on the instrument, and you get your own road on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
instrument.
yeah.
Okay, I have that tool to learn guitar, but what can I explore on my instrument on the on the fretboard? Okay, I will play with more notes on the same pattern, but
Right.
add more notes. That's really interesting.
Oh yeah, add stuff in the middle, add stuff on the outer edges of what you're playing, and then now you're sliding back and forth, and still your bar is there for the chord that you're playing in, but instead of just staying within this, you can be on either side of that riff, like a find your way the octaves like. You find where you can do the same riff, but maybe a little bit higher or lower depending on the octaves. And so as you progress, you start figuring that out, and you use the same, the or you find where it's at in several places on the guitar. And if you're playing different chords and you want to use that riff, you can be at whichever one you want to be at. It's just it's practice, But I want to show you how I utilize my pedals at home, where I practice with the looper pedal. I'll start a rhythm, and then I'll show you one style of guitar solo, one where I'm using a lot of octaves, and then another one where I'm using riffs in a clean tone. And then I'll show you how I use my digital delay. And then I'll move to the wah-wah pedal. And when I cut that off, I'll play a little bit of a rock tone. And then I'll end it. And what I hope to accomplish is just kind of show you different styles of solos that I try to play with and express myself with. And I appreciate the opportunity to do this.
Sure.
I like to play
sure.
standing
It's-
up, so that's what's going to
It's
happen.
your stage.
All right.
Okay, Arthur, thank you so much for sharing. That's your song, right?
That's me playing along. Yeah, yes, I would
Yeah.
say so. Yes.
Some composition, an idea right
Yeah, an
now.
idea. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing. You play really, really good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Well, your influences are country, folk, and 80s rock,
That's
right?
right.
And some kind of metal, well, glam metal.
Yeah, some of
All,
that. Yeah.
yeah. But right now, what are you doing with music?
Thanks for asking. Yeah. So I have been working on stuff with Amy that is easy listening and light rock and light country. We work on everything you can imagine that she can sing, and so I'm learning new country songs and uh, stuff like Martina McBride. She does a lot of Linda Ronstadt and different things like that. We're do country songs, even Blondie, and so we try to mix it up. I'm learning some Paramore, and actually even newer country artists like Ella Langley. Learned one of her songs, and we're doing. I can't think of her name, but there's a new artist out there that we have been working on stuff from this year, So we got a lot of older stuff, Linda Ronstadt, but we're also doing stuff from 2025 and country that just came out, and so we trying to mix up our set list to where it's not all just the old 70s stuff, and I'm enjoying it, and Amy is too. And so it's I'm learning a lot of new country to boil it down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Well, um, on some point of your life, you think about a do classes for students or a start your journey like a teacher or you're
I
not.
have done that. So I've had approximately 5 or 6 students, and one of them I had for 2 years. She wanted to learn more about lead guitar. And so I taught her some of the skills I was showing a while ago and more. And I had her practice all the time because I was trying to teach her to pick back and forth, which is very important when it comes to lead guitar. And she did pretty well. And then there was another lady that just wanted to learn the guitar solo to one of the Leonard Skinner songs that's out there, I Know a Little. And it starts off with this riff that's very intricate. And I was trying to tell her, that's not for beginners, that lick. You're trying to learn something that's gonna. I don't know if you're ever going to come to the end of this because this it's not made for beginner, but in all actuality, she did pretty well. And so then there was other people that just wanted me to show them how to do embellishments, like if you're playing a C chord and you just want to add little embellishments like that. They just wanted to show them how to lead into chords with little embellishments and little like and where that would go in whatever chord that they're talking about. And so I had some students that just wanted that kind of thing. And what I found as my journey uh, progressed, I'm not a teacher that would teach somebody from the very beginning. I don't have the patience to go back to when I was 14 years old and start somebody from the beginning. And so I had to turn down a few people and let them know, well, I, I, I really would love for you to get somewhere learning your rhythms and you get some flow when it comes to easy songs, first before you come to me, because I mainly just teach lead guitar, and some of the people weren't ready for that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a regular T-shirt. But uh, some people love to work with little kids.
Yeah.
Just start to talk or start to write and read. And some teachers, oh, I don't want to do that. I want teenagers to they have skills about read and write. It's the same. It's really the same.
So I've had several students, and I didn't charge as much as an actual trained teacher would, but these people needed to hear from me, and they wanted to see my direction on how I go with things, so they could learn. So I was just charging like $25 an hour, and and it was nice. This one lady came every week, and so it's a little extra spending money. I think I taught her what I wanted her to learn, and I I'd love to do it again. I just don't have any students right now, but maybe one day I'll pick it back up and teach people my solo stuff that I do, little riffs. Um, it means a lot to pass it down. Yeah.
Yeah, I think teach it's a gift. It's like a gift. A lot patient
Yeah.
and share your knowledge with more people. It's 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 really hard because you need to explain really well for um, a piece of paper on white, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's and I never think about teach people how play guitar because I don't have that kind of patience.
Right.
I really patient person, but uh, I I I don't know how to do that. But well,
Right.
maybe someday. Well, uh, how you equilibrate your life, your regular life with music?
How do I regulate regular life with music? Well, I do work a 40-hour a week job, but I get off at 3 p.m. in the afternoons, so I can come home, practice my music and stuff, and still go out and go to open mics where people take turns getting up and doing 2 3 songs in an evening. Like Tuesday nights, sometimes we'll go to Sideways Barbecue and stuff. So I have time after work to practice a little bit. I don't have any children. Me and my wife, we live by ourselves, so that makes a big difference when you don't have a house full of children, and so that creates more time. And I'm not interested in TV. I'm somebody that doesn't actually watch TV hardly at all. Maybe once a week, we'll sit down to a show or something. But at least 6 days out of the week, I come home. I'm either like recording, or practicing the guitar, or writing words, or discussing music with Amy and the different bands we're in. And so we have time after work to do it. And I understand not everybody has that. So I'm lucky in that respect. Yeah.
Sure, because well, the podcast is for everybody, for professional musicians or uh, teachers, chefs,
Yeah, yeah.
lawyers, gardeners.
and
Some
and all those have different times that they get off work. Like if they get off work at 6 p.m. instead of my 3 p.m., then by the time you come home and relax for an hour, you might not want to go out to an open mic and play music because you want to go to bed pretty soon because it's already 7 o'clock, And yeah, so some people don't have the opportunity, to get out and meet new musicians, which I highly recommend if you do have the time. Staying at home and practicing is fun, and you can learn, but you learn more, I think, by executing what you've practiced on in front of other people, because you take turns at these open mics and you see how he plays a little bit, you see how he plays, you get up there and play and show what you can do, and next thing you know, you're sort of like bringing all this together inside of your mind, and it helps you to move forward or even relay your information to other people that is like, how do you do that? And you show them, and they show you what they do. And so getting out and meeting people, I highly recommend it for people that want to play out live, because you learn more by that kind of interaction with other people.
well, well, Arthur. Right now, I'm really curious about your guitar,
Okay.
your next guitar.
This is my newest guitar, and love it. And I went to the tone shop and I traded in. I had a Ibanez. No. It was a Epiphone Emerald 2 Joe Pass Signature Series archtop hollow body. I did not play that thing, and I thought I would because I like to do some jazz type stuff, and that kind of archtop hollow body guitar lends itself to that tonality. But in all actuality, it sat in the closet for years. So I got a message from the tone shop, which I'd been there before, and they sent me a message, say, hey, if you trade in your guitar, we'll give you a good price for it and 15% off of a new guitar. So I thought, what the hell? And I went up there and traded in that and got this. This is a Paul Reed Smith NF3 Standard Edition. It's not made in America, so it's not their high-end guitar, but I love it. It's well put together. It's a Paul Reed Smith, so you can't deny its craftsmanship. And it comes with 3 mini humbuckers, so I can use them separately, or I can use 2 at a time, these 2 or these 2, and it's got great tone because of the mini humbuckers. They have a little bit of a fatter or deeper tone, and so it lends itself to rock, and so I play this sometimes with Southern Glory, since we're doing rock music. It's Southern rock with them. It's all about Leonard Skinner, 38 Special, Allman Brothers, Blackfoot, Whiskey Myers, bands like that. And so this guitar has that kind of tonality, and has been a great guitar to play. And I love the sound of it. It's got a good clean tones to it, And so it's well worth the money.
Yeah, I really love uh, that brand.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's my favorite brand ever, cause one of my guitar heroes, he was he had one
Oh yeah.
a really rare guitar, a really rare Paul Reed Smith, but I have one, and that's a really the quality on Paul Reed Smith. It's really nice. The Indonesian brand,
Oh yeah.
it's really nice. But American Paul Reed Smith is really expensive.
Oh, it's so you like $12,000.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
I could never afford something like that. I would love to have one, but it'd have to be a gift. And that's funny. The other day, I went on Facebook and I said, "Hey, my birthday's coming up," and I showed a picture of a Gibson Les Paul Gold Standard. And somebody's like, "What do you think we're going to do, Arthur?" Nobody's going to get you that. It's like, hey, you never know unless you ask, right? But in all reality, I've had 4 guitars given to me. So I've had people want me to have a guitar, so I had one person just buy the guitar and then hand it to me. I had another person that they were given an electric guitar, and he only plays acoustic, so he had it hanging in his living room, basically decoration for like 5 years. And then he seen me playing out at an open mic somewhere, and he gave that to me. And then I have my favorite guitar, my Gibson Les Paul Standard, was given to me by my late friend Charlie McDaniel. He was one that won the Texas lottery, and he called me up out of the blue. I didn't even know where he was going with this, but he said, "Arthur, I always told you if I ever won the lottery, you'd win too." And I was like, I don't need anything. And he came to my house with 2 Gibson Les Paul Standards. One was black and one was cherry. And he brought his son and said, "Which one do you want?" And I was playing $100 Squire 2. It was the cheapest guitar a man could buy. But I told him, I said, I don't need anything. I've got everything I need. And he said, "Well, which one do you want?" He wasn't listening to me. And with tears in my eye, I told him, I said, "Well, I'll take that cherry one, And I still have that, and he gave that to me in 98. It's a 96, and boy, the tone on that guitar is unmatched. It's been my favorite guitar. Yeah. And I had another guitar given to me. It was an acoustic guitar. Somebody was cleaning up and found it in the trash. And he just said, "Here, can you make that work?" And there was nothing wrong with it. I just played, put new strings on it, and I had an acoustic guitar. Yeah. So throughout the years, I've had 4 people give me guitars, and that's 4 of my 6, and these 2 are the ones that I actually bought.
Okay. Well, can you play your guitar right now?
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
This Paul Reed Smith has a great tone. And I played you something clean a minute ago. Let's move to something else.
Nice.
That's one of the my favorite songs, Stranglehold from Ted Nugent. Love Ted Nugent, and his tonality, was really nice. He always played the Birdland guitar. I'll play you something that I do at the house to kind of give a metal sound that I do.
Arthur. You play amazing. Thank you so much. Well, what kind of music are you um discovering recently? You are listening your new music
Yeah,
or
yeah. I'm listening to the new country. A lot of them are women singers. I'm trying to find new stuff that my wife can sing, and then I can play those guitar parts. And so we're creating a set list of newer music, something this decade, instead of the older 50-year-old 70s songs, which we know and love and still play. But we want to be more diverse whenever we play. So I have been listening to new country. Um, a lot of it doesn't have a whole lot of like lead guitar, but some of the newer music has moved away from expression of that sort. It's more about the vocals, the melody. The music is still great. I don't want to take anything away from it, but a lot of times you don't have anything like a guitar solo or a keyboard solo or anything like that. There's a little nuances here and there that make the song, just like a guitar solo would. But so I'm learning that style to play without that kind of thing.
yes, it's
And
another step, another phase
yeah,
about your journey.
that's right. Another step up the ladder. Um, you have to learn to go with the flow. So new music has these different kinds of changes like that. So I'm trying to learn that. I don't want to be a stick in the mud and play one kind of music. It is so easy to do that. To say, hey, I just want to be a heavy metal guitar player and play the old Iron Maiden and Scorpions from the 70s and 80s and stuff. But I have found that, and there's a lot of joy in that. You're playing just what you want to play. But I found that if you go out and you get in these bands where they've got gigs, maybe it's not Scorpions and Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, but they're playing stuff and they're making, $600-800, and you get 150 for a Saturday night. Is it playing exactly what you wanted to play? No, but you're out there. You're still learning new tricks and trades, and I'm in 4 bands right now. You learn by watching and listening to other bands and by your teammates, and so you can broaden your horizons, and it makes you a better musician, and I think also it makes you more accessible to people that would otherwise not see you because you're just playing this one style. You're going to the same bar, playing the same bar, doing the same music, and if you're in a band where you get to play here, there, everywhere, and maybe it's not the exact music that you want to play, but you're making money, you're growing as a musician, you're more accessible to people, the more people know who you are, and so, and maybe down the line, you get in a band where you play all exactly what you want to play in addition to all this other stuff. So it can happen, and I have had that, where here recently, because I play with Southern Glory, and it's all about the Southern rock, but whenever some people can't make it, like we lost a guitar player, the actual singer can't come to this next gig, something got in the way, so now it's just me, the bass player, and the drummer. We have to figure something out. We don't want to give up the gig, so we'll play some old stuff that we liked back in the day. The other day we renamed ourselves for this gig instead of Southern Glory, and it's just the 3 of us, and we went under a different moniker, and we did some stuff that we don't normally play, but we love, like the old Ted Nugent stuff, and even Black Sabbath, and stuff like that. That it's really more me, than anything. But so it can happen here and there. But I guess my point was that you don't want to limit yourself, You make more money playing what the crowd wants to hear, and you know, become more diverse and become more accessible to different crowds of people that really need to know who you are, you know, rather than going to the same old places or just staying home and playing along with your records or whatever. Uh, I highly recommend it.
Nice. Well, Arthur, if the money is not a problem for you, what kind of guitar you will buy?
Oh, I tell you, if the money wasn't a problem, it would be a Gibson Les Paul Standard with a gold top. That to me is the pinnacle of guitar tonality. I'm not going to say craftsmanship because, you know, Paul Reed Smith and there's some other, you know, companies out there that have craftsmanship out the wazoo, but the tonality that you get from a nice Les Paul Standard is unmistakable and unbeatable, I think, when it comes to almost any style of music. You can play jazz, rock, country with the Les Paul. It doesn't matter. As long as your back is good enough to hold all that weight.
Yeah, it's really heavy. Okay. Well, do you have some advice for our subscribers or viewers about the guitar? If like, cause some people are stuck or they feel their skills are not enough or they are not too good. Do you have some advice for them?
Yes, that's a good question. You know, pushing on is always hard to do if you feel like you've run into a wall with the information that you have. We are in such a good time right now. When I first started, and as I mentioned before, the library was what I had to work with. I could have taken classes too, but I was stubborn. I didn't want anyone to show me anything, you know, person to person, but I didn't mind the books. And so, but nowadays, somebody that's stuck and can't progress any farther, but really would like to, but don't know what to do next, YouTube is your best friend because you can type into there whatever it is that you're trying to figure out, and there'll be some person on there showing you how they do it. And what if it's not exactly what the artist did originally? You, by watching this person attempt to play it, can maybe figure out the missing piece of the puzzle for where you're at in life, trying to figure out these songs or whatever. And it might move you along a little bit farther. And once you see how easy it is to move along by watching other people and stuff, you might find yourself searching for more. What always wanted to know this other song and how they do that, and then you'll see somebody playing it their way, you know, or trying to show you here's how I do it, and then by watching them, you see a missing piece of the puzzle for what you're working on, and it move you forward. So I highly recommend YouTube, but also I'm 61 years old. And I know some people are starting at the beginning and they run into a brick wall. Maybe their calluses are hurting so much they don't know if they want to play more, or they just don't have the information that they need. Don't forget about the library. They still have beginning books or even advanced books on how to play guitar and what to do. It's still a place that you can go to and learn new things. So those kind of avenues are what you want to take if you're hitting a brick wall. You don't know how to progress, you know.
Yeah, that's really nice. You're the first guest talk about a library and go back for the library. It's
Yeah.
cause well I started with internet, but I have copies about how play guitar with tabs or
Right.
But okay, I have some time on internet and download the tabs, print the tabs, and start to learn the songs and okay, try to fit the tempo with the the sound and rewind. And but we have the facility right now uh, to one one click and you can learn everything you want.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I am not a proponent of the tabs or memorizing numbers. It's hard enough to learn the guitar without having to learn something else on top of that. You know, the tabs might be for some people, and I understand how it can advance you. But for me, the guitar is all about expressionism. You remember the old Frank Zappa, shut up and play your guitar, because they didn't want nobody really wanted to hear him explain how he got to where he's at. They just want to hear him play. Well, that's the same thing with the tabs. Uh, you're looking at all these numbers and you're trying to figure out where to put your fingers. And maybe it's me. Maybe I felt that it was more than what I needed to get into because I learned by myself. I listen to things and play by ear. And now if I'm doing this tab thing, now I'm going down a road that I'm not actually playing by ear. I'm playing exactly what somebody's telling me. And I think that lends itself to what I was saying a minute ago about YouTube. Maybe you've got most of the puzzle figured out on your own as a guitar player, but there's this missing piece. And if you watch somebody, just watch their hands make the move that you couldn't make, you can still find that you're expressing yourself your way. You're not following numbers, you're not following notes on a grid. It still can be you, all you, except for somebody showed you this missing piece of the puzzle. And the tabs, if you start going down that road, now you're following exactly what somebody's trying to show you. You might as well have gone to music theory class and learned how to actually read music. Why wouldn't you just, if you're going to spend time to learn something new, do that. And then as you go into bands and they set some sheet music in front of you, you can play it. Nobody's going to sit down and say, I need you to learn these tabs right here because we're going to play here in 2 weeks. I need you to know all this. It would be more the music theory in the actual tablature, of the, what's the word for it? The sheet music, So, and I don't want to condemn anybody that's going down the road of the tabs. Please follow your own path. Yeah. I'm telling you what I found out, and I like the figure it out myself way. I get more pride out of it knowing that this came from me. You know what I mean? And but if that's not you and you're not trying to express yourself in that way, you want to follow how things are exactly, I would suggest learn music theory. Take a class in that, and that way you can read sheet music.
Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you for your opinion. It's really, I learn each episode. I learn something new, some a new point of view, and I try to get some parts about the way they look the music, they enjoy the music, they learn the music, and I never think about that. But it's right. It's right, and I'm I have almost 40, and I played music 25 years ago, but I'm keeping learning, and all my guests say I keep learning.
Yeah, you can never learn it all.
Yeah, and the interest about the guitar and how play and how be better, or
Right.
yeah, it's really, really interesting in your opinion about, okay, you have the tools right now with computer, with
Yeah.
tablets, or but don't forget the 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 road we crossed before,
Right.
because okay, we learn with our uncles, with our cousins,
Yeah.
the libraries,
That's right.
the journey about the studio, and we have right now the easy way to create. But sometimes the people don't effort enough, right? Because it's too easy, but later, oh, later. But in the past, the people effort enough, really, really hard to. I want to learn just a song,
Yeah.
just a song, and spend a long time because I try to read a book about music and oh, you need to play G. Oh, how is G? Okay, and that kind of knowledge you need to effort to really,
That's
really,
right. Yeah.
really
Well, the
understand.
effort that you put in on something like that, starting from the beginning, it plays a lot on your calluses. And you get to a point that all your efforts of learning and everything get to a point where, like, hey, this is hurting, you know? And so you go do something else, go, ride your bike or whatever. I started when I was young, but then you come back to it because you really want to learn this thing and you put more effort into it. And so, at the beginning, take baby steps. Don't try to learn everything all at once. You want this experience to be fun. You know, and so learn a little bit here, a little bit there. Maybe pause the movie and practice a little bit and go back to it. And create a little time each day for practice. That way because it's not like riding a bike where you never forget it. Playing guitar, you go a couple of days, and next thing you know, like, what was that I was doing the other day? You have to kind of stay in it, you know what I mean? And then you start taking these baby steps forward as you learn a little bit more each day and build up your strength, which I would like to talk a little bit about that. The strings themselves, they come in different tensile strength. You can buy some that start with 0.8 thickness, and they're very thin and so almost effortless to play. And this is a good point I think people should hear hear a lot about. You can choose strings to start with a 0.9, and they're a little bit thicker and a little bit harder to play, but still really slinky. And then start with a 10, and they're a little bit hard to play, especially for beginners, all the way up to whatever you can imagine, 11, 12. 12 is you get a really thick tone, but it is super hard on your muscles and your strength. And so my point here is that let's say you have a gig coming up in 2 weeks. Practice with the thicker strings to build your strength, and then before the gig, change your strings to a smaller tensile, like 0.9s instead of 0.10. And then you'll find that as you're playing the gig, that you're not maxing out your muscles, you're not hurting yourself. It's easier to play, and you have more strength to play all night long because you did all of your hard work before. And now it's time to cut loose. Change your strings to a smaller, tensile strength, and then as you play, you're utilizing the strength that you've built.
Wow, that's a really nice advice and have all the sense because, well, when you are practicing, you are doing over and over again. right? To create a muscle memory.
Yeah.
And well, and if you want to get more tone, you get idle the caliber.
Hires. Yeah.
Yeah, and well, that's really really nice. I never hear that before.
There's a reason for everything.
Yeah. Oh wow, wow. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Wow. You know, guys, if you want to, all the guitarists has tricks.
That's right. That's right. And you want to prepare yourself for these gigs, and be ready. And that's one way to do it.
Yeah, because you played the song one time and that's it. And you played the solo one time. On that night, you did your work before to
Right.
learn to create your muscle memory, and on the gig, you just played in one time, and
Yeah.
that's it.
And it should be easy. And you make it easier with the strings that are lighter, and so you're not going to be struggling, you know. That's just one trick of the trade, getting your strings closer to the fret if you're a lead player gives you freedom to play more notes. I don't want to say faster. I don't want anyone to think that they should try to play faster. Play from your heart, and the crowd wants to hear something that they are going to remember from the night, and they're not going to remember a really fast thing. And I don't want to take away from Yngwie Malmsteen and Josh Satriani and all those, but they do play from the heart. It's just a little faster. But what happens if you play a little bit slower and more melodic guitar solos, even though you can shred, doesn't mean that you should. It makes a big difference whenever everything fits within the music that you're playing in. If you're playing a Linda Ronstadt song, you don't want to shred your lead guitar. You want to play something more melodic. But if you're playing a Megadeth song, then yeah, you want to search, maybe play faster. But still, I don't want to say the word fast. I want to say melodic and fitting with the chords, because if you do that, then the crowd has something that they can follow. It fits within the song instead of you're just shredding in E. Maybe the song is based in E, the chord E, but there's so many guitar chord changes. If you play something more melodic or phrase your solo with the chords as you're playing, whether it be shredding or whatever, it's something the crowd will remember, that, hey, he was on point. He wasn't just spinning, leads out. He was phrasing his guitar solos with the chords and everything, and it was a better experience for the crowd. You know what I mean? That makes a big deal.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you just talking. I remember a teacher I was. He said, never on a gig, never play your top. Play on a step behind, cause you are learning that technique. Maybe sweep picking. I'm learning sweep picking, but no, you are not ready to a gig,
Yeah.
and you will feel frustrated about that. Oh, I have the idea, or I'm ready to play, but I'm not clean playing, right? Just play a little bit less,
Yeah.
and a step behind, and you will feel comfortable with yourself, and you will respect your audience, and you will respect yourself,
Yeah.
and you feel not frustrated. Oh,
This is good advice. It is. And the same thing goes for singers. If somebody starts the song a little too fast for the singer and they're just spitting out the words, they find it hard to put their heart and soul into the music. But if you slow it down to the proper speed or even slower, a singer can be more melodic and have more feeling and stuff whenever they have the time to enunciate their words and say everything properly and put their feeling into it. So that's why I don't like to say fast. It's not something you want to search for, or it's not something that you want to strive towards, is to be the fastest lead guitar player. And in all reality, it's been done. It's not popular anymore. It's 2025. What you want to play is from your heart, from your soul, and playing a little bit slower and more melodic tones and stuff. I've shown you the different tones that I could make. I'm popular with different bands. They keep calling me back because of that kind of thing. I'm not just playing as fast as I can, and people aren't searching for that. They want it to sound right. They want it to sound melodic and from your heart, you know.
Because the heart speaks with truth, right?
That's right.
Yes, not had the pretension to showing you are not, right? I don't know if I explain myself. You said, okay, if don't play fast, just connect with song, with the piece
exactly.
of music.
Oh, it makes all the difference.
You need to know the song to connect with song.
That's right.
Don't try to be bigger than the song, right?
Yeah.
The musician are working for the song, for music, right? Don't try to be bigger than music, because you are not, right?
Yeah.
And play with your heart. If I want to show myself play faster and faster, but I'm not playing with my heart, I will say nothing. It's like quiet notes, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, there's a time and a place for everything. Play melodic 3/4 of the time, but then play some really fast thing in there and come back to playing melodic. Now that can lend itself to diversity, you know, and people that want to hire your band or whatever might be at the party you're playing or at the bar you're playing, and they hear that you are trying your best not to just fly off the handle. You're trying to stay within boundaries, you know, and be more professional. And then they might hire your band for their party, you know. It really makes a difference, you know, whenever they see you acting this way, because that's really what you want for promoting your band or your music or whatever, is for people to think that, you know, those guys are on point. I'm gonna have them come play at my birthday, you know, and so that's what you're looking for, you know, more business, you know, reality. You know, I hate to make it into a business, but playing local bars and stuff for me is mostly fun.
Yeah.
It's less business, but it doesn't hurt to make the money, you know. And I tell you, because I told you before, I work 40-hour a week, but these bands and the music money that I make, my wife and I, we normally just save that for our vacation. So it's basically a free vacation at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Really nice.
Yeah.
And you spend fun time doing another, go outside for the routine. Yeah. And save money for vacation. Another
Another fun. Yes, it's
time.
fun all the time. Yeah, but this is great. I'm glad that I could like express myself and also maybe teach a few tricks of the trade. You know, I know people are going to see this podcast, and I would love to plug my original music, where I have created, I don't know, somewhere along the lines of 200 original songs that I create at my house, and I record me on the bass, me on the rhythm, me on the lead and harmony leads and overdubs and everything. And so there's some where I've hired a drummer to play, but most of it is looping drums just to get kind of a beat going. Because most of the stuff that I've created is just to get my idea out of me and have it recorded in some kind of way, so that maybe in the future, one of these days, we get some musicians together and play all these parts and make a better recording. So I found myself doing this quite often a few years ago, and I have created over 200 song ideas, and most of them are at reverbnation.com/Arthur Anderson. And I hope people will visit that site and just listen to what I create. I've compiled a bunch of the music into different albums and created album covers for each one at that website. So it's just a fun place where people can go and listen to the little Arthur. You know.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Arthur, for that. I have question for all my guests. Uh, it's a really hard question.
Okay, shoot.
Okay. What's your favorite album ever?
My favorite album ever? Wow. Okay, that is a hard question because I have so many artists that I love. And of course, it's going to be so revealing about me to say what it is. In all reality, and I think there are quite a few people that would agree with me, the Steely Dan Asia album is by far the best album ever created by mankind. Listen to that whole album. There is nothing but professional musicians on it, well thought out music, chorus lines and melodies that will stick with you. Yes, Steely Dan Asia. That is the best album ever created.
I will listen to that album. I never heard before.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. Well, and the second question is, what album do you recommend for a guitarist?
Recommend for guitarists to learn to play along with. And don't forget, I'm 61 years old. So I think the best album for if you like hard rock at all is the Black Sabbath Paranoid album. The songs on it sound great and aren't that hard to figure out, you know. And then you'll find yourself playing along with that album again and again because those songs are timeless. So I would say the Black Sabbath Paranoid album.
Nice. You really, you really shot on the point, cause, well, it's cause we listen a lot music, and on our journey we love a lot albums, but it's a question for the viewers, cause they can discover, and for myself too, we can discover new music. Don't mean it's just realized music, recently music. No, it's all music, but we never listen that kind of music, right? Some some people will connect with you. Some people just discover you. Oh, that guy play amazing, but how he get his tone or he get his techniques,
Yeah.
and that question is for that, to know the guest more and more, right? And thank you so much. I will listen your favorite album. I think Paranoid's really a really great album. I means a lot for me. Um, well, Arthur, before end, how the people can contact you, and well, you share your link for listen some kind of some pieces of your own music, but you have more projects, right?
I do, yes. So on Facebook, there is a Facebook page for the Southern Glory Band. And so you could look that up and find out where I'm playing with them a lot of times. There also is a Facebook link to the Mark and Machine band, Mark and the Machine, excuse me. So you can go to the Mark and the Machine Facebook link and see where I'm playing. And there's another one, Amy and Arthur Music. That one is where my wife and I go and we play farmers markets and wineries and breweries and stuff like that, and you can see where we're playing. And last but not least, there is a Facebook music page for the blues band that my wife and I are working on. The band is called Code Blue, so you can go to the Code Blue Facebook music page.
Well, before Arthur, thank you so much for being here. Share your story, share your advisors, your year. That's really really nice. Your story, it's really amazing, really fun. You have a really a really good talking because you're fun. You express yourself with your heart, your words, your when you was playing, you play with your heart, and that fit your words with your playing, and I really really enjoyed.
Thank you.
And thank you. It's just thank you to being here, to believe on this project, and accept the invitation.
I'm glad I got to do this. I'll be able to show this podcast to friends, family, and fans or whatever, and I think it'll make a big difference.
Thank you so much. Well, guys, my name is Julio Diaz, Arthur Anderson. Thank you for watching us. Subscribe, comment, and see you in the next episode with another amazing guitarist. Keep playing. This is Guitar Memories. See ya.